I've had this video in my pocket for a couple of weeks now, even all the way back since we were celebrating Thanksgiving. I want to show you how I baked up the tofu that went into my Mima's cornbread dressing. Oh, that's such a good recipe. Here is a package of extra firm tofu, which I have not pressed. You can see the water spilling out all over the place. And I've taken it and sliced it up into 6 slices. And then I'm going to take those 6 slices and cut them in half. Come on, Jill, catch up. There you go. Cutting them in half. And then I just want to cube them up. And I'm just eyeballing it. I'm trying to make, almost a 1-inch cube, but not quite that big. Because I want my tofu to be tender on the inside, but I like it chewy on the outside. I don't know why, but that's just the way I do. That's the way I am. Okay? All right, so there's all my cube tofu, and I'm just moving this over to the bowl. I don't care that there's water still in the tofu because I got common sense. I know that it will all bake off in the oven. Okay, there's my black salt. If y'all heard of this, it's called, I'm going to mispronounce it, kala namak. Okay, that's what you want to look for. That's its real name, but the rest of us just like to call it black salt. I found this particular bag in an Indian grocery store that just happens to be down the street from me. Really inexpensive stuff. I think I paid $2 for that bag. This stuff is great. It has the smell of sulfur and it's very, very salty. It's a black rock, mineral rock that is ground into a fine powder, and it has a pinkish color to it. When you smell it, you'll think boiled eggs, which is the reason why you will see black salt appear in recipes where you're trying to make a tofu eggless salad or something like that. Anywhere that you want that egg flavor. And since I was taking this baked tofu at the time and I was going to put it in my grandma's cornbread dressing, I wanted I wanted the tofu cubes to remind me of the boiled eggs in her dressing. So I just went super generous with the black salt. I knew that the water in the tofu was going to kind of dissolve some of that salt. When we bake food, it kind of spices and stuff kind of tend to lose their flavor, or they can lose their flavor, and when they're finished cooking, they don't taste as strong as they do before they're cooked, So when I'm tasting this, I'm like, I really want it to be like super black salty, and then I want it to be super peppery. Okay, that's all I added to it. And then on my little silicone lined pan here, this is going to go into my Breville Smart Oven. I just dumped those cubes right onto the pan. Now that red silicone mat there is one that would fit into a normal, small baking sheet. I just laid it over that round pizza pan and then trimmed it along to fit on there. I got that silicone mat at the Kitchen Collection store. I think Hamilton Beach puts them out, and they're like $6. I mean, they are super cheap. So I don't feel bad about cutting it up and making it fit my smaller pans. Okay, so you saw me. I just kind of evened out all the cubes out and try to give them some space between each one of them. And then I love using my Breville Smart Oven because I don't have to preheat an oven. I don't have to waste energy preheating an oven to do some pretty decent baking here. So I just popped it right into my cold Breville. I set the temperature for 400 degrees and I set the timer for 20 minutes. Now this is it's a toaster oven and a convection oven. So actually at 400 degrees, it's 400 degrees with the convection mode. Okay. So that's going to take about 5 minutes to heat up, and then it's going to bake. Now here's what happened. Here's reality. I'm spoiled to this appliance because when it's done baking, it kicks off. So I just said, you know what? I'm just going to, when it's done, it's done. And I actually forgot about the tofu. So the tofu had a chance to bake for 20 minutes, and then it had a chance to cool down in that dry heat. So the texture of my tofu, which I plan to do every time I do it, because the texture of my tofu was absolutely perfect. It's nice and dry. It's got a nice little chewy outside, but the inside is still tender but not wet. It's got a nice bite to it. I could easily make this a snack just on its own. In fact, here's what really happened. This pan that you see here ended up being devoured and never made it into that first cornbread dressing trial that I made for the hang with. Y'all remember that? Okay, remember when we made cornbread dressing on the live broadcast? Okay, well, this was the first pan that I attempted to bake, and it never made it that far because I was picking at it. Then Charlie came by and he was picking at it and he was like, hey, this would be a good snack. And I was like, yeah, I would. And then Max came by and he started picking at it. And then by the time it was like getting close to me doing the hang with, I had like a handful of tofu. So I ended up having to break open another package of extra firm tofu, and I had to do it all over again just so I had enough for the video. It's good stuff. And you can use it anywhere else. I mean, I say try this out. The key, I think, when I do from now on, the key will be baking it for 20 minutes at 400 degrees. And then turning, when that heat goes off, just leave it in there. Leave it in there for like 10 or 15 minutes. Let the heat of the oven just go down on its own and let it just continue drying out a little bit, but it doesn't overcook the tofu. I mean, it's just amazing how that works. And when we were done, that black salt, they did not taste super salty like they did before I put them in there. So even the salt doesn't taste as salty at this point. So the pepper was spot on because pepper just, it's pepper. But anyways, try this. Let me know what you think. See how this works out for you. If you don't have a toaster oven, use your regular oven. That's cool. I don't care. But you don't have to have, a special appliance to make this happen. It's just I happen to have the Breville, and I can do small portions and a little bit without having to heat up the whole kitchen and heat up the whole oven. So anyways, that's why I did that. All right, I'm going to start talking now. Go try this. Tell me what you think, and we'll talk about it in the comments below. Bye.